On this installation, in the doorway, I'm actually faced with quite a height difference between the LVT tiles and the carpet being installed. Now, I'll be using the double nap lock or the DoubleZ from Stairrods UK, but what I need to do is build up this height first. To check all this, if I take the drop checker, I can actually gauge what my drop down is. That's reading at 19 mil, so I've got a 19 mil drop down to the base. Now the double nap locks, or the DoubleZs, they're actually set at 10 mil. So 10 mil from there obviously leaves me the 9 mil, and that allows me to go with a 9 mil Easyshim from Stairrods. The Easyshims come in four different sizes. You've got the 6 mil, the 9 mil, the 12 mil and the 15 mil, and it comes in packs of 10. Now in a doorway you can actually have the two corners. I mean, I've got a small bit going in there, but with the two corners you can actually produce two side shims out of one full shim, which will give it a gradient both that way and that way as well, which will then come in and just meet up to that architrave. Firstly, to install the shim, all I need to do is bring the shim into position. Just using one of the side shims, I'm going to cut it just to the width of the actual doorway itself. You can use this as a straight edge. That's all I want to do is just score it. And then it should just break off quite nicely. That little bearing on the edge, just use the knife again just to tidy that up. To get this into place. Now this floor doesn't require an expansion, so I can take the shim right up to the edge just there. When it comes to the corner shims, this one I'm actually going to scribe it into the wall, but this one I'm just going to cut roughly. Now both ways are commercially acceptable as long as you keep the gully of the gripper within standards. So I could use my offcut, a quick mark on the shim itself, get that in line, and again just score it. Don't have to try and cut right through. Then just clean the bearing up. That should fit quite nicely into that point there. Now I need to get the feather edge in line. So I just turn the shim around, bring it up as far as it'll go. Put a mark on the thicker side of the shim. I'm using some gripper shears. Just cut that off and drop that in. So that, as I say, is commercially acceptable as long as the gripper is secured correctly and I've got the correct gully for the carpet being installed. This side, I'll do this a little bit more intricately, bringing it into the shape of the actual architrave itself. Use a bit of masking tape to help out. Stick those together. I'm going to mark on the side shim where the shape of the architrave changes. Just a quick reference on there. That corner. I don't need to mark that corner because it's in line with the edge of the shim itself. So all I do is extend those ones down. Takes a little bit longer doing it this way, but attention to detail is always a good way of producing a better installation. So I've got those marks on there. Is what I need to do is use a back marker, which is the same size as this drop back just there. I can mark on the shim up to those points there. That's that flat section of the architrave. It's that bit. Front of that curve is just there. Get the depth of the curve like so, and that corner just there. If I bring that in line with this corner, put a quick mark on that point. If I join those two up, that gives me that angled cut just there. Now it's just a case of drawing the shim on there, follow the shape on there. Like so, so all I'm doing is drawing the actual contour of the architrave. As long as I just follow these lines, that should be a close enough fit to that skirting board. Any small bits, so all I need to do is just push the knife through. Once you've scored around it, use the gripper shears to do that small piece there, and just break off the remainder. Again, just tidy the burring up. It should fit quite nicely to that point across there. Securing these shims on a timber substrate, you want to use mechanical fixing, either ring shank nails or screws, and you want to put a fixing line just underneath where your gripper's going to sit. That's the point that's going to take most tension on this carpet. If I put fixings back here, that could actually slightly lift up, so make sure you've got fixings underneath the gripper. Same principles apply to the side shims. I could put a row of fixings across the front just to keep this nice and flat to the floor. If you're working on a solid substrate, then make sure you use the appropriate primer and adhesive. Always consult the manufacturer beforehand to make sure that the adhesives are compatible. So I'm going to keep my spacings about every 150mm. As the bottom edge isn't going to take any real tension, just a few staples in there. If the floor is slightly uneven and you've got movement through the centre, you could actually place some fixings across as well. The more secure this product is, the more secure your installation will be. Once we've got our shims installed, we can now focus on the bar itself. Now the DoubleZ comes with the blue tape on the surface to protect it. This is a polished chrome bar, so what I want to do is just make sure that the floor is as clean as possible. You could actually put a scrap piece of underlay or a scrap piece of carpet down, just to make sure you protect the surface. Now on the back of this, we've got this line running through. Now that line is a score line. I'll just use a straight blade. I'm just going to run through that a couple of times. move the bar, don't drag the bar. Run across like that. And that enables me to be able to break the end. Then I can peel off the surface, or the side, sorry. Just with a rolling motion. That score line ensures you get a nice clean cut down the edge. And to get that back off, it's all you do, just twist it back on itself. Then it comes straight off. Next I'll actually measure for the bar using an adjustable straight edge. And go between the two door checks and mark the bar itself. Little tip with this one. I just put a quick mark roughly where it's going to be cut and put some masking tape around it. This helps me see my mark a lot better, but it also helps with stopping the saw blade from actually slipping on the top of the bar itself. We've got a brass top on this. It does take a little bit of work to get it started, but with an aluminium base it does breeze through the last part. Just going to take a couple of little angles out the corners. Just to help it to sit snugly in position. Check your bar, make sure it fits. So that's nice and snug in there. When these bars get delivered, they come with a 3mm packer. This is a flat base bar, so it must be installed with a stretch fit system on a raised base system. This packer allows us to do that. All I need to do is cut it into approximately 30mm sections. And then it's what they'll do, they'll actually sit underneath the nail holes supporting the bar itself, and that allows me to get the bar dressed down once the installation has been complete. So every time you put a nail in, make sure you've got a chock underneath. And try and get some chocks in the ends as well. Again, make sure you're installing the gripper to industry standards. Once you've got the gripper installed, you can see I've got a continuous gully all the way around. We can still see the shim underneath. That's the attention to detail side of things. But with this one, I've still got a continuous gully, even though the actual shim's cut slightly short. That won't have a detrimental effect to the actual installation of the carpet, as long as you've got a fixing in the shim underneath your gripper rods, and you've got your industry standard fixings in the gripper itself for the most secure hold. With the bar itself, the bar's now installed. I've got fixings in the shim underneath the gripper teeth, or the anchoring pins, whichever you want to call them. So that is as solid as a rock along there as well now. Install the carpet as per industry standards. I'll be stretching into the doorway last. Even though the base plate is a high grade aluminium, the pins themselves, the anchoring pins, or the gripper pins, aren't obviously strong as a gripper rod itself. So this is just a straight stretch into the bar, form a crease, and then just work along, feeding the carpet onto the anchoring pins. I haven't actually cut anything yet. I want this bar to really nap down and grab hold of the pile of the carpet. Plus, if I cut and stretch, I've only got about 10-12 mil underneath the top of the bar itself, which I might actually need more stretch into the bar than that. Once I'm hooked on, I can get the carpet cut. Making sure not to touch the surface of the bar itself. Then I can fold that carpet underneath. To get optimum grab on this carpet is what I want the carpet under the door bar to do, is fold back on itself. So you can't see it at the moment, but the carpet underneath that bar is actually doing that. It's folding back over. Once I actually dress that down, the top part's going to push the bottom part even further onto the pins, stopping it from pulling out of that bar. Once we've got the carpet into the bar itself, if I just show you the offcut, we've got the Z section just through the upright on that bar. This is designed to compress downwards. So you've got a slight gap just underneath at the moment. Once I dress that down, it's going to clamp everything this side further onto the anchoring pins. Safest way to dress them down, just with a piece of wood, a bit of felt on the base, and just don't go hell bent for leather with it.